Hello everybody, let's have a look at BEPRO, shall we? So I made one video about this about a month ago, and people seem to like it and loathe it because, well, I mean, first of all, I called it a shitcoin. It really upset a lot of people. Look, it's a term of endearment, all right? We trade altcoins, right? You can either call it an altcoin or you can call it a shitcoin. I think anything out of the top 10 is quite easily described as a shitcoin, but it's just a fun term, all right? It shouldn't upset anybody. It's just a term, right? We use these charts and we use this this whole world of crypto just to make money, all right? I don't even know what BEPRO does. I've got no idea what it does. Something to do with NFTs, I think. I got no idea. Shoot me in the comments. So, the video I made before was about how this one's going to offer great opportunity once the bottom is in. But even when the bottom is in, we should be extra careful with it because we can't escape the fact that this coin did retrace to, what is it, about 95% from its absolute top to its absolute bottom. Almost 95%. And what I was saying, at the time when I was making this video about, how this is going to be a good opportunity for those who decide to take it on, and take the risk, I should say, take the risk for this, is that even though the top to the bottom is 95%, it doesn't necessarily mean that it stops there. If we mark this off roughly by the candle bodies, we go back in time, we can see that there's a bit of rhythm to why the bottom was there. We had an initial peak over here, and that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. This is what I mean. These charts are a bit rough and ready. If we measure it by the wicks, there's also a peak here, but it's neither here nor there. What I was saying is that if you do decide to venture into this or dollar cost average into it on the way down, just be prepared for some more pain, because if we were to break down from that support level, we've got these areas here, which would be another 60% down, right? 60% down from where this current bottom was. No one ever knows really where the bottoms are for altcoins especially. Never mind Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a little bit easier to work out or to make an educated guess on. And if Bitcoin's dictating the market trend, and this one's already down 95%, and Bitcoin's down 55%, if we entered into a bear market, there's a potential for at least another 30 to 35% down for Bitcoin. So you could only imagine what would happen to BEPRO. So the idea is, wait for this to turn around, wait for buying signals on this, and just wait and be patient, because there's nothing worse than being absolutely wrecked in a coin that for whatever reason you decided to buy based upon, I don't know, anything other than the chart, right? And so it's turned around now, but what's going to happen from today? And this is where I'm interested. Okay, so I'm starting to get interested. So you might think, well, you missed the boat, mate. I bought the absolute bottom, and it's easy for someone to say that on the comments because they don't put themselves on YouTube prior to the event taking place. So it's very easy for someone to come on here and go, you missed the bottom. I got in. I did it. I'm better than you. Read the comment as proof. Right? Okay. All right, so we're up, 300% from the absolute bottom to the current price right now. So that's fair enough. So some decent moves to have been made there. Absolutely. And for those who did catch the bottom, because obviously some people did, otherwise it wouldn't have gone up, well done. But for me, it's about what we're looking at now. So, the good old trusty money flow index often gives a very good indicator of when things are getting overheated. And this one has done a good job at that. In fact, I would say that this is the largest peak of the money flow index on the daily it's ever had, which should concern people for something that looks like this, that the last time we had a peak like this, it did come down to 95%. So I'm not saying that it's going to come down to 95%. I'm just saying that this indicator represents, where peaks could exist. So this could easily be the top for this current run. Now, for the bulls out there, this is shaping up to look quite nice. We have a conversion baseline cross above the cloud. We also have green portion of the cloud. We also have the Chiku span trying to remain above the cloud, which is basically 3 levels of continuation of a trend form. But this bit here, as much as this is a really, really good, strong signal for a continuation of a trend, so I do believe, based upon this indicator here, that this trend will continue. Doesn't mean that we can't come down to a dramatic amount, because that's what BEPRO likes to do. So if we think about how has this formed in the past, how was the behaviour formed in the past when we started these uptrends? So broke above the 200 exponential, nice big move, come back all the way down below all the major moving averages and consolidate for what looks to me like the best part of a couple of months. Just 1 month really, and then went up to another uptrend. Golden cross here on the daily, and then up and away. On the 4 hourly, let's go back, see if we can just get that little portion of price action on the daily there. See how that looks. So we got our golden cross, so pretty nasty retracement going on from this parabolic high. Let's just measure that retracement just for fun. That was an 87% retracement. So this is what I mean. Risk to reward on this one is high, which is why you want to get on the right side of it and not on the wrong side of it. So a massive consolidation, almost getting towards a 90% consolidation. Nice big pump. Let's just measure this pump from the bottom to the top. At 226%. So we see that there's method to this madness, right? There is some kind of rhythm going on here. We got our golden cross on the 4 hourly, had a nice big pump, and then consolidated all the way down to basically almost a death cross. In fact, there was a death cross there, and it pumped from that moment forward. So what have we got going on here? So we got ourselves a 95% retracement. We've got ourselves an uptrend. We've got ourselves a golden cross. We're reaching a peak on the money flow index on the daily, suggesting that the chances of a pullback, a greater pullback at this stage is high, meaning that this is just not an appropriate entry point. But we do have on the daily a continuation of a trend signal formed on the Ichimoku cloud, which is very powerful, and one that I'm very interested in playing. So I would expect to see this one retraced now, as hard as that might be to digest. And for me, it's all about getting on the right side of something like this. I don't want to get stuck on the wrong side of it, but we really are looking good now. So this plan is getting closer and closer to being a realised plan. But a plan that offers great risk to reward has to be treated appropriately and not FOMOing in. And I remember saying to some of my Patreon members, says, look, I'm happy to see things go up 200 to 500% before I get that confirmation that this is definitely going to continue and I can make some serious money. I'm not looking to catch knives on anything, especially something that looks like this. But again, daily looks good, although it's definitely reached a peak for the moment. In my interpretation of it, 4 hourly looks good, but previous behaviour suggests that we do have these big runs up after golden crosses and then consolidation down, and then we continue for another big run up. So this looks like the peak. I would expect a consolidation from this point forward, and then and only then when we reach areas that I would be interested in, probably the 200 exponential on the 4 hourly, just as it did previously, and I'd have to check on the daily to see if there was any kind of confluence when we reach that level. That would be my opportunity, I think, to get in on this one, and then I'd be looking to sail this one up quite high. Might even be a long-term position, and wait for this one to really moon. So that's the deal, I would say, for BEPRO. So stage 1 of the plan, which was wait for the big dump to finish, that looks like it's finished. We're getting ourselves a huge, massive pump, like I expected to see at some point on here. But entry points for me are not going to be appropriate until we consolidate back down from here and find ourselves on a significant moving average. Probably the 200 exponential, and when I point down here, it's what 0.56 of a cent, right? I'm not saying that that's where the price is going to come down to. This is a moving average which is rocketing really high. Every 4 hours, this is going to tick up a bit and a bit and a bit and a bit and a bit. It's when the price action and the moving averages catch up with each other and meet somewhere in the middle. Gives me an idea of where a potential entry point will be for this token. And again, even though we've got these good signs, good signals, repeating previous behavior, doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to work out, especially immediately. The main thing for me on altcoins in general, even though the small caps seem to be doing really well in the short term, the main thing would be to recognise that we're not likely to have a larger alt season until the Bitcoin dominance chart reaches a significant rejection at a resistance. And the first opportunity for me of a decent one is going to be 52.5%, and if that breaks and we continue to go up, we're talking 57, 58, and if that breaks, well then our alts are going to be significantly wrecked for a prolonged period of time until we get a real rejection, arguably at a much higher area, and then that would be an amazing situation, and then all should be forgiven at that point. But for the moment, it's definitely risky, and so trying to get in at the best entry point, even if it's just a spot position, I do not want to get wrecked on it, and so I'd be looking to hedge into something like BEPRO at those moving averages, wherever they may be at the time. So wait for a consolidation on this one, and if it takes days, weeks, maybe even months, that's fine. That's no problem. The risk to reward on this one is definitely good, provided your entry point is better. But again, the daily looks good for what it's worth, but a consolidation from this point now is almost certainly guaranteed. So give it a couple of weeks, I'd say, and see where we go from there. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Feel free to hate me in the comments. I know coins like this seem to bring up a lot of emotions for people. Probably the people who bought around here, to be honest with you. They're very emotional people. But, you know, all will be forgiven. I'm pretty confident about that. And I would like to get... I mean, I do have some that I bought, I suppose, in a bit of a FOMO vibe when I saw that golden cross. But the larger position that I'm going to be putting in on this one, it's going to be based upon the next consolidation and reuniting moving averages with price action, whether that's on the daily or the 4 hourly, or technically both, and hopefully the rejection would be seen at the resistance of the Bitcoin dominance chart. So that's BEPRO. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.